Okay, thanks. Hey everyone, welcome to ACDC number 173. It is issue 1874 in the PM repo. There's a link to the agenda that I just put in the chat. So yeah, today just one quick housekeeping thing with Fusaka and the EIPs. Then we'll touch on Glamsterdam and Hegotaf. So yeah, otherwise it's a pretty short agenda. So yeah, let's get into it. To kick things off, Pooja has a request to adjust some of the statuses of a few EIPs from Fusaka. I don't know if Pooja's on this call, but let me just grab a link to this comment. It was EIP 7607, 7723, 7594, and 7918. And I think they just need to have the status changed. But yeah, if you were involved with one of those EIPs, please take a look. And yeah, we'll get that tidied up. Okay. Next then we'll turn to Glamsterdam. And yeah, so I think the main thing for today is to discuss ePBS and the progress there. There's also a request to mention an engine API issue, let's say for BALs. But first, let's have a little chat about ePBS. So yeah, I mean, maybe a good place to start would just be to ask where clients are at. I know we had the spec changes that we were working through even into the end of last year. And, the next step now would be the ePBS DevNet 0. I don't believe we have this DevNet 0. And yeah, I think it'd be good to have a conversation about how we want to get there. So any CL clients want to chime in?
I can speak from Teco. So we have basically we're passing the spec ref test from alpha 0.1 apart from the fork choice tests. So we're pretty much in the same situation as we were before the holidays, but just passing the new specs. So yeah, we're working towards the devnet 0, but still not sure exactly of any timeline.
Cool, thanks. Any other client want to give an update? Okay. Barnabas, you put some notes here on specs. Do you want to say anything else about that?
Yeah, so we basically dial down the specs to be 1.7.0-alpha.1 for devnet 0, and most likely it's going to be alpha 2 for devnet 1. I included the CL spec PRs that are attached to each of these scopes, and hopefully we can discuss that. There's a couple of open PRs still, 4843. Oh, look.
Yeah, I can grab them. It's 4843 and it looks like 4826.
Yep, exactly. So the 4843 seems to be pretty much good to go and pretty much good to be merged in. And the other one is really the questionable one.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, the way that you have it here, those would be in DevNet 1, so we have some time to resolve those. And then there's a solid target for DevNet 0.
Right, but yeah, it would be very good to have some timeline discussion regarding ePBS because it's been delaying for a very long time, and based on even client updates, it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So I'm hoping we can discuss specific deadlines for DevNets.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should get into it. One comment from Kingy, just in terms of client updates. Yeah, Lighthouse is making good progress. No firm timing yet. But yeah, they're making good progress in terms of Lighthouse network. So yeah, I mean, I think that is an important thing to get into here is just the timing, so we can align on how we're thinking about things. I think one place to start is we had this meta of 2 forks per year. So from where we are today, I would be curious how clients think about this. A proposal I could just toss out there. Following that, timing of 2 forks a year would be Glamsterdam sometime in the summer, between June, July, possibly even August. From there, especially I think if we can agree to a time there, then we can work backwards and figure out where everything else needs to hit. So yeah, I'd be curious for people's thoughts on that. I think sticking to this would be important, again, just to keep, if anything, predictability and regularity high. And I do think if we're targeting the summer, then yeah, you kind of go backwards from there. It would be something like May-ish for test nets, meaning devnet development is done around April, meaning, the beginning of devnets where we are now needs to start progressing. And yeah, I mean, if we want to make it concrete, we could even go ahead and say, yeah, we need DevNet 0, say in a month. And from there, I think things will kind of fall into place. But yeah, I'd be curious how people feel about this today.
I think maybe it's not very clear what you're trying to communicate. Basically, you're suggesting that we could consider doing a EL only fork in the summer in case ePBS is not able to ship in time. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, this is an option on the table, which is why I want to kind of have this conversation. So yeah, like if we want to stick to 2 forks a year and it gets to the place that, really any AP is not ready, then we could just basically leave it out. It by default goes to the next fork and we proceed that way. And yeah, that could be the case here at Glamsterdam. Again, I think BALs and things have progressed quite a bit further along than ePBS. So if we stick to this mid-year fork, ePBS is not ready in time. That is an option on the table. Photos.
Yeah, so I can't give you any timelines for devnets, nor not even kurtosis runs, but people are talking about an 100% increase on the size of the block because of VILs. I don't know how people think about that without ePBS.
You're saying that you would have concerns without ePBS, that it would be okay to make the blocks that big?
My node today gets the median block over 2 seconds into the slot. If we double the size of the block, we still need to attest to it. Without ePBS, sounds kind of crazy.
And this is just from the access list, this doubling you're talking about?
Yeah, as far as I know, they were talking about having 100% increase on BALs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is true, but to be realistic, right? 100% sounds a lot here, but we are talking about 70 to 80 kilobytes with today's gas limit. So this is not even a blob. So I wouldn't over exaggerate it. Of course, on the EL side, data will be doubled, but if you put it relative to the total data throughput we already have, it's negligible.
Ansgar, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, basically similar to what Tony just said, more just a bit general. Now, I really, really, really don't think we will ship an EL only fork. I think that would be a really bad outcome. I'm very optimistic that we'll just hit the timelines on both sides. But yeah, because the question was raised, I think because we have this unusual flexibility this fork because of the repricings, we can just make these things relative to each other more or less expensive, data versus compute. And so in this like just absolute like emergency outcome of having to ship a fork without the benefits, the very important and very much looking forward to benefits of ePBS, we would be able to do so and basically just end up having to reprice things slightly differently. We would be prepared for that. But again, to me, this is like a very like just only emergency outcome. I don't think that's at all in the planned main path here.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it would be preferable to keep things as scheduled. It is an option if it comes to that. Yeah, and so I think it's going to be, yeah, I think it'll be like tricky to make this a firm commitment today. At least going off, yeah, what Puto said, representing Prism, Kingi here with Lighthouse. So yeah, at least from those comments, like possible, but yeah, they don't want to commit to this today. Any other clients have any input on this?
I just wanted to note that I think we have a bit of illusion of two hard forks per year because we did that last year, and we did that just because the PIRDAS was developed for a couple of years in parallel, and we don't have such thing now. We just started to implement ePBS, which is a really complex thing. It touches so much in the client. So yeah, I'm afraid that we it's for this year. It's just an illusion to have two hard forks per year. So, but
I think that's fair though, because block level access lists also got started developing around the same time, and they are mostly ready to hit two forks a year. Same with repricings.
yeah, but I'm on CL side. I'm talking about CL side.
Well, that's more of a comment on scoping, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not proposing this, but you could imagine we change the scope of ePBS so that it's a smaller thing to ship faster. Yeah. Barnabas has a suggestion here on a timeline. Let's see. So yeah, the BAL devnets progress. ePBS devnet 0, yeah, essentially a month from today, which then a month after that, we'd get to the next devnet and keep things moving. This is a nice timeline. Of course, it needs to be possible. And, I think what I'd suggest, sure, Barnabas, you want to add some context?
Yeah, so I would really suggest that we should do like a harsh deadline for the end of February, the 28th of February, for at least shipping ePBS DevNet 0. If we are unable to ship ePBS DevNet 0 by the end of February, then I would consider pushing it to the H star fork and basically doing a EL only and repricing changes fork in June or maybe even sooner. And then we can still ship ePBS by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's an option. Any responses to that? So if not, I think in terms of today, yeah, it does sound like based on where we're at today, I would agree here that Post is saying like end of February, or at least, not today, but with another sequence of calls, we'll have a clearer idea. I do think we should all have in mind roughly the schedule, again, just to keep things moving. So what that means for today is like, do our best to get to DevNet 0 towards the end of February. And yeah, I think given where we're at today, we'll know a lot more in the future, and we can have more clarity at that point in time. And to be clear, there is this option that, especially if we have a bunch of other things ready outside of ePBS, there would definitely be the option to explore of shipping quote and EL only fork. So let's keep that in mind.
Are there any implementation blockers or spec topics that need to be sorted out sooner rather than later that would help?
Can you specify what you're referring to, Pari?
Just asking, do we have everything required for implementation, or is there still going to be something changing between now and DevNet 0?
No, I think it's DevNet 0 is already spec'd out. And I think finally the spec is frozen in that sense. So we can actually now start, well, we are already coding and we are already merging. So a couple of weeks ago, we actually started coding for this.
Perfect. Do you guys need anything from the testing team or from PandaOps?
Not for now, but in a couple of weeks, we'll be asking to have like kurtosis runs, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
What's blocking on the kurtosis?
Oh, there's no blocking. We just need to code and merge.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And even, yeah, just going off of the DevNet 0 spec, there's the consistent specs here with the release, and there's one extra PR, it looks like. So that looks pretty straightforward. So yeah, again, that's what I would say for today. I'll try to keep this next milestone in mind of about a month from now, towards the end of February. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Does that sound good with everyone? Enrico?
Just a final comment, unrelated to ePBS. So we'll just take 1 minute to share a little description of what happened to Teku nodes 2 weeks ago, around January 13. So if we are at the end of the call, I just want to share these things. So is this the good time? Is there anyone want
Oh,
to?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So just a little summarization of what happened. So EF ran around the 13 p.m. UTC a stress test on mainnet, causing blob usage to spike like 2.5x. Consider the average of compared to the average of the moment. So we have been reached by several clients saying that Teku was falling off and producing empty slot logs. And we started a very long analysis, and we think we found some root causes of this. Essentially, this was happening only on some full custody nodes, not every node. And this spike of blob usage caused essentially columns to more than double in size. So overall data written to database doubled. And we hit some kind of threshold in the way we used level DB that was causing transaction writes to slow down a lot. And this was causing a chain effects on our client, essentially fully filling up some queues on the database side, causing data availability to not being declared available quick enough, even if we have already received the columns over the network. And so blocks won't be imported and all things off. So we started, when we realized that the level DB was the root cause, we started saying around, can you please switch to RocksDB if you're facing these problems? And we are working on several mitigations, and we also moving to RocksDB as default database and from the next release. But yeah, just sharing the updates on what happened. I don't know how many was aware of this. So we are. This is a reason why also ePBS development was a little bit slowed down lately on our side. We were dealing with this analysis and issues. That's it.
Okay, thanks. And yeah, any takeaways? I mean, Barnabas in particular has a question.
Yes.
If we should wait with the blob testing.
We are working on some approaches to mitigate everything. So we could try to recreate the same problem even if we synthetically recreated the same scenario locally by simulating a very slow transaction on database that actually triggered all the chain effect that we saw on the customer nodes. So I think like we know what the problem is now, and it's pretty internal and low level on Teku. So we could run another spamming test again, but I would like to maybe having also all the mitigations and improvements already in place to also being able to compare those mitigations in parallel and see that that was actually solved. So maybe we can organize later when everything is done.
Okay, thanks for the update. Okay. Anything else on ePBS? Again, just to play that back, it sounds like we're in a good place with the devnet zero specs. Clients are busy implementing, and yeah, it would be good to see the devnet as soon as possible. At this point, I do think we should kind of just take it call by call and see how things progress. We should have a rough deadline in our heads of about a month from now. And yeah, we will navigate things as they go. Okay. Then Tony had a quick shout out on this PR concerning the engine API and BALs. Tony, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thanks. Not really much to say about it. Just as a heads up for CL clients that we changed something at the engine API previously. It required like 2 calls to the EL when it comes to helping other peers sync. And this will now just need 1 call because the block level access list will just be attached to the execution payload, body. So it will have an execution payload body v2. And yeah, just please check it out. Previously, we only used Lodestar for the first devnet, and for devnet 2, I think the plan was to use multiple clients already, and different clients handle it differently, as far as I know. So please have a look, and those clients that are ready for devnet 2, we can then already use them. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, and that's would just have people review the PR.
Yeah,
I missed
review
if
it
there's
and
anything
implement it.
concrete. Okay. Okay. So yeah, everyone take a look at that. Anything else for Glamsterdam? I think that was all we had on the agenda. Okay. Next then would be Hekota. And again, yeah, just to give a summary of where we're at there. So we've started the headliner proposal process for this fork. So far, there's been a proposal on ETH Magicians, at least a post for this, for Fossil. And I think a new one since last time would be Encrypted Impulse, which I think, depending on how they're doing it, is probably more of an EL thing. In any case, we have until February 4th for proposals to be submitted. It would be nice if champions of these proposals come to some ACD by the 4th of February and give, a very quick sort of pitch or overview of the proposal. Yeah, then from there we'll go to the headliner selection process. And I think that was all I wanted to say there. We still have some time before the next phase of that. And with that, I think this was all we needed to cover today. Is there anything else we should discuss?
I might have something. So could we get maybe every CL team to have a version for the ball devnets as well? I know that we currently have Lodestar and Lighthouse only, and I think it would be good to be able to basically run all the CLs with balls as well.
And concretely, would be a slot num implementation, just so they can join the devnet.
That plus balls. It should be a fairly small
Oh,
change
right.
on
Yeah,
top of
okay.
Fleka. Yeah, Prism is not working. There was a working branch that might work for DevNet 0, but it no longer works for sure. It would be good to have a DevNet 2 spec ready for all the different CLs. It should be a one-day effort for most people, I think. So it's not a huge lift. And then maybe later on, we can also iterate additional CLs on top of that branch. And because we still have a few CL-only changes, if ePBS is taking too long, then we can include those CL changes on top of the ball devnets.
Yeah, so you said Prism, there might be an issue with the branch right now. And then what, Teku, Brandine, who else am I missing? I missed the first two you said that
Nimbus.
were already there.
Yeah,
Nimbus.
Nimbus, Teku, and Grandin. It would be great if they also took a look.
Okay, some of them are on this call, so. Can we get an acknowledgement? Okay, we got a thumbs up at least from Spelius. Okay. Harry has an ask here about partial solid proofs. That would be worth talking about if the relevant people are here. Is this mostly implementation and clients, Perry, or is there something else to talk about?
Yeah, an implementation status of plans, because as far as I knew, partial site proofs is something we also plan on shipping this year. So I think it makes sense to discuss where we are with that.
Is any client looking at this?
Yeah, so I was just checking if maybe Raul was on the call, but I cannot seem to find him. So I can maybe give an update. We are launching a devnet for the partial sales stuff. We launched it yesterday, but the clients are still implementing the features. We have a Lighthouse implementation and a Prism implementation. They're like half-baked solutions at this point. We're still missing some metrics, but it should be getting close to interoping. And we are waiting for a Taku and Lodestar implementation, and we haven't heard from Nimbus yet. But it's work in progress.
And is the plan that as soon as someone has it merged, they ship it, or will this happen at a fork boundary or PPO boundary or something like that?
This is still under consideration. So we want to roll it out for devnet, then roll it out for testnet, and then after testnet, we can see if we have any other P2P issues with clustering. If there's no issues, then clients are free to roll it out at whenever they roll out their next stable releases.
Okay. POTUS, your comment here was about these partial self proofs.
Yeah, we have Marco is pushing PRs, and also some internal members are just working on this, and Casey, I think, is also working on this.
Okay. Yeah. In terms of moving forward here, it might be good to like point to some type of champion, and I think that's likely either Raul or Marco. So yeah, I can follow up with them and try to get them on a future call, and we can make sure we keep moving that forward as well.
Yeah, like we cannot ship BPO3 without it. That's pretty obvious, I think. So we're gonna need to have every client implement it before we can ship BPO3.
Makes sense.
Could we also get an update maybe on 7688?
This is the stable containers EIP.
Yep, because most SSD libraries will have to update that. That might also be a significant effort.
Yeah, so tests are ready in consensus spec tests. Nimbus implementation is ready. From Lighthouse, I heard that they are ready, and Lodestar results are ready. Prism, Grandine, and Teco are aware, but they are still busy with the other stuff from what I have heard from them.
Right. Is it fair to assume that the implementation of the SSD containers can be done parallel to ePBS, and it's completely orthogonal?
It's a pure library change. It doesn't affect the consensus client.
Is it
Didn't
something
we
you...
land?
Sorry.
Didn't the EIP touch some of the types though?
Yeah, I mean the 7688 then applies the library changes to the types, but the library changes itself can be developed in parallel.
Right. Okay.
It's just like an annotation that you have to put on the type, and then it hashes the new way.
Mm-hmm. POTUS, your hands up.
Yeah, so it's true that we can, after we've added all the structures, we can just change the ZZ structures on the states. The only worry that I have is if it will affect our in-memory structure for the tree that we need to keep, because it changes how we hash things. I've been told that this is not so much of a change, but I mean, bugs on the rehashing on the tree are always subtle to debug. So that'll be my only fear on this EIP.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to make progress here, it'd be worth someone who's not working, say, on ePBS to de-risk that point, POTUS. So someone who can move ahead of implementation, and yeah, even just a little prototype showing that that's not an issue would be useful. I do think more generally, I'd rather us focus on ePBS and getting that to a good place before the other CFI EIPs. it is good to get a status update on this though.
Anyone has looked into any other CL EIPs, by the way? Because we still have a few more. In terms of like implementation difficulties or
Yeah,
any kind
I
of
would
spec
guess
issue.
not, but I'd be keen to hear. Okay, we got a no from TechGo, which is understandable. I imagine everyone's just very focused on ePBS at the moment. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap up for the day. Okay, then thanks everyone. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye bye.